That'll do.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue sur Blabla Katie. My name is Katie and today we are going to blabla about when to not link French words. Although this is part 3, the first 2 parts of this video were titled when to link French words, and I talked about required liaison as well as optional liaison. If you don't know what liaison are yet, or if you don't know when you have to use them and when you can choose to use them, definitely go check out the first 2 parts to this video, and this third part is going to wrap up everything on French liaison. So before we get into the explanation of when liaison in French are forbidden, I'm going to give you a pre-assessment activity. You should be looking at 4 sentences on the screen, and you're just going to try to read them out loud with all of the rules that you've already learned about the liaison in mind. Sometimes you're going to have to use the liaison, other times you have the choice, sometimes it is forbidden. To be exact, there are 7 categories of forbidden liaison in French. The first being before H aspiré. If you're not sure what H aspiré is, I recommend checking out my video on why is everything in French silent. I explain H aspiré and H muet in that video and it'll make a lot more sense here. For example, if you have the words les and héros, the H is aspiré, so you're not going to make the liaison. You're just going to say les héros. You are also forbidden from using French liaison before the words onze and oui. Les 11 fleurs de oui. If you're having a bit of trouble pronouncing the on sound in onze, that is a nasal. If you're unfamiliar with that, I also have a video on nasal sounds, so I'll put that in the description box below. The third category of forbidden French liaison are after names, like Nicolas. So if you have a word that starts with a vowel after, you're not going to make the liaison. Nicolas est fâché. Moving on to the next category, you're not going to use liaison after singular nouns. L'enfant aime lire. You might be tempted to make the liaison between l'enfant and aime, but you are not going to do that because l'enfant is a singular noun. You are also going to fight the urge to use the liaison after the word est. Un fils et une fille. The 6th category of forbidden French liaison are after interrogative adverbs and the adverb toujours. For example, with the interrogative adverb comment est-il? And also with the interrogative adverb quand arrives-tu? You're not going to be making the liaison. I do want to point out that there are some exceptions with these 2 interrogative adverbs, comment and quand, and this is going to depend on the very specific phrase that comes after, and I did talk about this exception in the previous liaison videos, so if you're not familiar with this, definitely go check those out. And an example with the adverb toujours, you would say toujours aimable, and not toujours aimable. No. And finally, you are going to be forbidden from using a French liaison after inversion. Parlez-vous italien? And those are all the categories for forbidden French liaison. If you have all of these rules down, we can jump into the final assessment. And again, be aware that you have to make choices for not only forbidden liaison, but also required and optional liaison. And the correct pronunciation for the first sentence: ont-elles une grande maison? Oui, plus ou moins. In this sentence, there's one forbidden liaison, and it's after elle. You don't say ont-elles une, you're saying ont-elles une, because you do not have liaison after inversion. You'll also notice in the sentence that there are 2 required liaisons, the first being in that same construction, ont-elles, and the second being in the response, plus ou moins. If you're not sure why these are required, check out part 1 of this mini-series. And moving on to the second sentence, les enfants très agréables veulent des haricots verts. Again, we have 1 forbidden liaison and 2 required liaisons. The forbidden liaison comes after les haricots. Haricot starts with an H aspiré, so you are not going to use the liaison. But in the beginning of the sentence, you do have the required liaison between les enfants and très agréables. For the third sentence, you have 2 different options. The first option, les 11 élèves sont amusants, or you can say les 11 élèves sont amusants. In both of these potential responses, there is no liaison between les and 11. It's another rule for the forbidden liaison in French. But you do have an optional liaison between sont and amusant. You can say sont amusants or sont amusants. If you're not sure why, check out the second part to this mini-series, which will clarify when you have the choice to use liaison in French. And the final sentence, Robert a deux animaux, un chien et un chat. In this sentence, you have two forbidden liaisons. First, after the name Robert, because it's a name, and second, after the word et, just another rule. You have one required liaison between deux and animaux. Deux animaux. Voilà. So that is all for forbidden liaison in French and for the last segment in French liaison in general. If you still have any questions, please put them in the comments down below. If at any point you got value out of this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. À la prochaine!